Hello. Nice to see you all. So, how does it feel to go on Facebook and post something really cool? And everybody presses like, and all your likes go up, and you see them happening, and you see shares occurring, and you feel good about yourself. Yeah, 100 likes. Fantastic. It's never going to pay you a penny. It doesn't matter how long you spent making that post, creating that content, whether it was words or a video or music or anything. The only person who's ever going to get paid is Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? But what if you got paid for it? What if you actually got reimbursed for your time? Not because somebody was coming along and giving you a load of money for doing it, but because the users of the community actually thought that what you have provided in that moment was worthwhile. They recognized that you'd spent time, you'd spent energy, you'd spent your personal time on this. And they could reward you for that financially. Gets even better. What if you could also earn some money, not just from posting content, because not everybody wants to post loads of content, but you could also actually earn for clicking like. That's what Steemit does. Steemit is revolutionizing the way that social media works, but it's not just about social media. Steemit is going to transform so many different industries, which could potentially be the music industry, where musicians like me don't get paid a penny for releasing our content on SoundCloud or any other platform. We get nothing, and we could have spent days, weeks, months, sometimes even years making great quality content. We get zilch, nada, not a thing, zip. Now, the question normally arises at this point, all right, so you can get paid for blogging. You can get paid for putting music or films or, stuff that you've done online. Where does the money come from? Who gives it? It's a great question. And the answer is that Stephen alluded to it earlier. It comes from the blockchain. Now, that's a big term. Who here has heard of the blockchain? Oh, there's some savvy people. Okay, who here has heard of cryptocurrencies? Yeah, few. Who's heard of Bitcoin? Who's using Bitcoin? Okay, use Bitcoin if you're not using Bitcoin. So, this market called the cryptocurrency market, which includes not just Bitcoin, is growing at an astonishing rate. In the last 12 months, it's grown into $170 billion plus industry. Give you an example of how you compare that. That's twice the size of PayPal. That's a third of the size of Microsoft and Amazon, and it's done that in 1 year. Steemit is very different to any other social media network. You see, all of these other social media networks, not only do they not monetize you, do they not really pay you? Okay, YouTube does a bit if you get 10,000 views on your post. If you're lucky enough to be an influencer already and you've spent years grinding it out, you might get a few pence from YouTube. Steemit rewards its users immediately. You don't need to have a following. You can get paid from your very first post. The first time I ever went on Steemit, I made about $40 just for saying hello. Bonus. On just about every other social media network, you have issues with licensing. Who owns your work? Who owns the content? It's not so on Steemit. The content is always linked to an author, and it's written into a blockchain. And for those that understand blockchain, you'll know that a blockchain can never be reversed. It can never be undone, and it will never go away. It will always be yours. If you're the first person to put that content up, you've got a great opportunity to claim copyright on it. You can prove it. On just about every other social media network, You will never get paid a penny. But more importantly, you'll never be a shareholder either. Not unless you go and deliberately buy some shares. Right from the get-go with Steemit, you are a shareholder. And you can continue to be a bigger shareholder if you're interested in investing, or more importantly, if you just keep blogging, earning rewards, and reinvesting them in the platform, which, by the way, is done automatically for you, if you choose to. As I've said, the blockchain, the Steemit blockchain is immutable, which means you can't change it. It's unrestricted. On all the other social media platforms, there are problems for many content providers with censorship and shadow banning. Shadow banning is where you get so big and then suddenly your reach is deliberately restricted by Facebook or Twitter or whoever until you pay them money. This happens. This will never, ever happen on Steemit because it's impossible to do so. For those of you that are interested in security, that are interested in privacy, and this has been a big question over the last few years, particularly with the releases that people like Ed Snowden have brought to the world, you can be completely anonymous on Steemit. You don't have to provide all your personal data, and more importantly, you're not going to be tracked. So corporations aren't going to be profiling you as a potential customer. And for people in more, how should we say, authoritarian parts of the world, they're not going to be worried that their governments are tracking what they're saying. Imagine if the Arab Spring had been able to occur on Steemit. Nobody could ever have shut it down. Ever. And finally, Steemit is decentralized, which means there's no single point of attack. The network is basically about as secure as it can ever get because nobody owns it. There's no central server database. There's no data farm for hackers or for malware to attack. It just doesn't work like that. So the question, of course, is how is the money made? Where does it come from? Those of you that have indicated that you understand about Bitcoin and blockchain and cryptocurrency, you may have a fair idea about this already. In a blockchain, cryptocurrency is a virtual currency that kind of pops out of the blockchain as it's what's called mined. I'm not going to go into the technical bits. If you want to understand it, and it is quite technical, just go and do a Google search. You'll find loads about it. It's absolutely fascinating for those that have got that nice techie mindset. On the Bitcoin blockchain, Bitcoin is a virtual currency, a store of value. It's absolutely huge. One Bitcoin today is worth, how much is it worth right now? About $5,600 US. It's how much? Has it hit six? Hooray! Bitcoin has hit $6,000, a new all-time high. Fantastic, that feels good. So those of us that are holding Bitcoin are smiling right now. By the way, about a year ago, not even a year ago, Bitcoin was at $1,000. That's some growth. On the Bitcoin blockchain, when new money is made, when new Bitcoin pops out, it pops out because the miners, the people that run the network, they get paid it for just running the network, okay? You'll never get paid it, the miners do. And they've got enormous data farms all over the world, particularly in places like China, that are mining Bitcoin constantly. Steem works in a similar way with one major difference. We don't call the miners the people that run the network. They aren't the people with the biggest pockets and the biggest data centers. They're elected by us, the community. And we can deselect them as well if they don't do their jobs. And more importantly, on the Steemit blockchain, about 75% of the new cryptocurrency that's created is distributed to the people that post the content. But not only to the people that post the content and make the new content, to the people that upvote it, that curate on it, that make the comments. So by being active on Steemit, on this blogging platform, you make money. And the cryptocurrency Steem is what we use to calculate how much you earn. And the cryptocurrency Steem has a real life value. It's tradable on open markets. It fluctuates up and down a little bit like all currencies do. At the moment, it's pretty stable and has been for some time. And our expectation is that as Steemit gains popularity, that its rise will go from around currently about $1 US dollar to around 10 US dollars in the next few months, hopefully. So it kind of works like this. Every time you make a post, some of the new cryptocurrency that's created is paid to the author. The author could be a blogger, somebody like myself that writes posts, writes about my life, writes things that people might find interesting. I write on all sorts of different topics, from computing to psychology to sometimes I just tell jokes and they don't get very much money. Sometimes we'll put pictures on. So there's plenty of people on the Steemit platform that are traveling around the world, being paid to travel around the world purely from blogging. How cool is that? That's a job. Sometimes it's about making music, sometimes it's about making videos, but whatever content you choose to put on there, when people click that like button, we call it the upvote button, you will get a share of the new Steem reward that's created by the blockchain. And so will they. You're going to get about 75% of the entire post reward. The people that click, oh, we like that, they're going to get about 25%. The people that comment, they're going to get a share of it too. So the whole platform is basically incentivized for you to be active on it. Okay, now that's great from a user's perspective. What about from an investor's perspective? Well, if you're investing in Steem, if you're wanting to be an investor, the first thing that you're going to want is some of the Steem cryptocurrency. And then you can simply invest that. You can do what's called a process of powering up. It's one button click into your wallet. And that gives you huge amounts of influence on the network. The more you have, the more influence you get on the network, which means the more your vote is going to be worth in terms of the payout for the user, but also for the person that clicked upvote as well, which includes yourself. So the more power you have, the more Steem that you've brought into the network, the more you've invested in the network. An investment, by the way, is not a long-term lock-in. It's actually only 13 weeks. It's not a huge lock-in to make some rewards. As that's occurring, you're making money. Every time you click upvote, every time you comment, and every time you post, you are pretty much always going to be making money, especially if you've got some investment in there. Now, that sounds fantastic. If you're an investor, not only can you invest some money into the cryptocurrency, but you can earn more of that cryptocurrency. And as the platform starts to grow, so does the value of the cryptocurrency. So if you buy 1,000 Steem today at $1 and you are active, within a few months, you'll be at 2,000 Steem and the price has gone up. How are you feeling now? Much better than just getting those likes on Facebook, huh? Now, some investors are going to sit there and go, well, that's great, but I don't want to be sitting there clicking upvote all day on a blogging site. That's a waste of my time. Of course it is. The nice thing about the Steemit platform is it also allows you to delegate your influence to other people. So people like myself who are nerds and do live in the crypto space and are online pretty much every second of every day. We don't sleep, it's true, right? We're quite happy to let you delegate your influence to us. We can't touch your money. We can't pull it out and steal it from you. All we can do is use your influence on your behalf and continue to make more money as we go. So as an investment that you can then be active in without you having to physically do it, it makes a lot of sense. Now that's brilliant. That's pretty much how Steemit works. Okay, so this is the Steemit platform. This is me. Hello, this is my blog here. As you can see, these are some posts that I made. Now, some of them make a few dollars. Yeah, there's one at the top there that made, what, $7.79. If we could just scroll down slowly, you can see one there that made $44, $13, $30. These take me somewhere in the region of usually about 10 minutes to produce. Just keep scrolling down. We've got $65 there. Keep going a little bit further, keep going. And you can see just about every post is making money. There's a nice one there, £113.22 that I made for simply taking some pictures and spending a day talking to people. That was nice. So as you can see, all of these things, you can talk about anything you want, and I don't really ever get a post where I don't get paid. And anybody can have one of these. How much does it cost to have a Steemit account? It costs nada, zero, zip. So here's the kicker. Not only is the Steemit platform there making money for people, but you're able to develop on it as well, if you're so minded. There are some new developments in the Steemit world. Here's one of them. DTube is going to rival YouTube. So what DTube is doing is exactly what YouTube does. You upload your videos, but this time, instead of waiting until you get your 10,000 views, it runs on the Steemit blockchain, and you get paid instantly as people like your videos. How cool is that? Bloggers, video bloggers are moving to this platform today because they're realizing that YouTube is never going to give them what they want. And one of the most exciting things, and this is a real reason that you should think about investing, is that there is now a white paper out for something called smart media tokens. And smart media tokens basically allow you to monetize your website in exactly the same way. Now imagine that you're running the Guardian website or the BBC News website, 20,000, 30,000 comments every day. What if the people that were commenting could get paid for their comments? That's what smart media tokens will allow. Not only will they allow that on the big media sites, they'll allow that on your site too. So if you've got a reach, this is why you should think about this platform. So I've talked for probably longer than I should. I'm going to hand over to Matt, and he's going to tell you the investment case. Thank you.
Okay, and now Matt is going to take you through Steem, the cryptocurrency, and the investment case.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, hello? Would you all be able to do me a favour? Do you reckon you can all give me a wave while I take a selfie? Is that all right? Ready? Welcome, everyone. Thanks for listening to us so far. One of the things that I want to go through is the investment case for Steemit. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be as funny as Dillion is over there, but I'm going to try and explain to you in simple terms, as an investor in Steem, what my returns have been and how my experience has been. Just to reiterate that we are all three users. We're not paid by Steemit. We're not working for Steemit. We're just users on the platform, yeah? So there's no hidden agenda here or anything. We're just happy to tell you about our experiences on the platform. So with Steemit, everyone's asking sort of, one of the first things that people ask is, where does the money come from, right? How do we get paid this money? And what Steem does is it creates 9.5% new currency every year, yeah? And it produces that on a continuous basis. And then based on the upvotes of the blogs, so hopefully the one with you guys waving in the back, that should receive quite a lot of upvotes because we're talking about Steem. So the community should like that, and I should get distributed some of that 9.5% of the Steem, okay? And then the idea with Steem is that they will slowly over time deflate the currency. So this year it's 9.5%, and as time goes on, they're supposed to be taking 0.5% a year off in terms of the creation of new Steem, so you don't get an inflationary currency. So it's very similar to Bitcoin, except as Dillion said, the miners in Bitcoin get paid the new Bitcoin. On this, the content creators get paid the new Bitcoin. Is that clear for everyone? We'll move on to the next slide. This is how the payouts happen. At the top there, I've just gone from the most involved to the least involved, essentially. So at the top, you've got the network supporters. They're the guys that secure the blockchain. They have servers in their houses and they run them 24/7. I have to guarantee 24/7 uptime so the network doesn't go down. They get paid 26% of the new Steem. The content creators, such as Dillion and Steven, they get paid 55% because, of course, they're the people providing the value to the platform, right? They're producing the new content, putting their time and effort in to secure the platform. And then people like me, I'm an investor in Steemit, so I curate, which means I go on and I find the new content that's really, really good, and I upvote it to say, I like this. And then it hopefully spreads around the rest of the platform and gets more likes. And as a result of that, I get rewarded currency because I'm liking their content and anyone else's content. There's an incentive built into the currency to get me to keep liking people's content every day. So it builds in an interaction into the platform. So that's 18% of the new Steem are paid to those guys. So what I'm going to show you now is this is my returns as an investor in Steem, right? So I hold just under 63,000 Steem. Back about, it's 18 weeks ago now. I started that. And what I do then, I go and I find content that I think that I support. It could be anything you want, right? As long as you think it's going to be popular, as long as you think it's high quality content and it's going to achieve some goal, right? I try to upvote people who are in different countries, especially places like Venezuela, where they're struggling at the moment. So I'm able to charitably give to those people as long as they're doing something that's useful, right? So I have a lot of followers in Venezuela who I'm helping every day by upvoting, by sending my upvote. And what happens then is the platform rewards me for upvoting that 18% we saw earlier. So my Steem has grown, you can see, to 17 weeks later, I now have just under 65,000 Steem. And you can see that the line isn't constant there because it sort of slopes off at the end because I actually changed some of my voting habits. I voted for slightly less profitable things, but things that mean more to me. So I've made less Steem, but I've sort of got a clearer conscience, if you like. So that's sort of Steemit from an investor's case. And then I've gone on to project that through a full 52 weeks year. So I've just interpolated that curve. And essentially I worked out that I've got an 11% annual gain. And actually, if I was to use that steeper curve and stay on my original voting patterns, I'd probably get about 13% a year annual return in Steem, just from upvoting people and holding a lot of Steem. So it's certainly better than bonds or anything like that you can have. And I think that's about it from me. So I'll hand back over to Stephen.
Thanks, Matt. Is that yours? Can you bring up before we go into the questions and answers, my blog? The reason why I just wanted to show this particular blog, I just wanted to make it clear, and I'm not quite sure whether it came across. About 10 years ago, I contacted somebody when I realized the Bitcoin was released. And I said 10 years, what would happen if a social media site actually jumped onto the blockchain? And 4 years ago, I actually set out to actually look for it. And in August last year, I became a blogger and started to blog. On the way down, heading down to London, to the London Investor Show, blogged it. I got $11. If you go into the wallet, I just want to share with you, it's fully transparent. You know, everybody can see everybody's blog. Everybody can see what everybody's earning. Everybody knows what everybody's voting. And just click on that. And go down to that 31,000 Steem. I've actually earned that by blogging. And that 32,000 is actually what has been earned by pure blogging in 1 year. And a lot of people think that's crazy. You know, people just don't believe it. And that is real money. What I've done is I've actually powered up because as far as I'm concerned, this is a 7-year blog site for me. And this is, you know, I've been waiting 10 years for this and there's no way I'm going to jump off it. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Matt mentioned earlier on that he's an investor and he's an investor. Dillion is a blogger. I blog a lot of technical analysis, trading signals, and no one else is doing it. So, of course, I found a niche, and that is real money. I just wanted to go into questions and the question section now, yeah? Just drop that. Right. There's a lot of information here, and I just want to ask, if there's any questions, fire anything out at us. And anybody who asks a question gets a free T-shirt. So it's as simple as that. Yep, just 1 second. Yep.
How do you actually monetize the Steem into dollars and cents?
Great question. If you're familiar with cryptocurrency, with Steem, you actually have to go through an exchange. Obviously, in the UK, you would go through an exchange in the UK and then through an exchange in America. Now, of course, we can't advise who you use, but if you Google exchanges, you can take sterling to Bitcoin and then Bitcoin to Steem and then on the reverse. So when you saw that 31,000, which was powered up, if I powered that 31,000 down, I could transfer it back to Bitcoin and back to effectively sterling. So hopefully that'll answer that question, yeah?
Sorry, just one thing. There's a lady here who I've never met before, but I'm definitely going to become friends with her now on Steemit. She's just shown me her Steemit account, which was opened at roughly the same time as Stephen's. And just so you know, hers is currently holding $30,347 in it. So just to show you that Stephen is not a one-off, this happens for many, many people. Did you power any up? Did you actually invest in? It's all powered up. So you didn't actually put a penny of your own money in. That's in 1 year. Thank you for that. And you've taken some out as well. She's had about 10 grand out, so she's done better than you. Who is she? Who is this woman? So, wow. Great.
Okay. We'll have a drink afterwards.
So where does actually the money come from? Who puts the money in? Is the Matt 63,000? Is that $63,000 he put into the system? Or
what happened when the platform was first launched last year? There was obviously a seed capital, a seed investment, and the best way to explain it really is if somebody put in 20 million and effectively bought 20 million's worth of Steem, if they're not going to sell that Steem, then in theory, whoever comes along next to buy the Steem are going to have to pay a bigger price. And I put out a video blog on YouTube not long ago, and I think it's hit something like about 5,500 views. And I actually predicted that Steem, the actual Steem ecosystem, and you've got to try and understand that Steemit, the blogging tool, is a tiny, tiny, tiny part of the overall picture, that the Steem ecosystem has a potential to become $500 billion within the next decade. And at the moment, it's trading at around about 230, 240 million. And the way it works, I've got 31,000 Steem. There's not enough money in the world that would give me, that would actually, for me to sell the Steem. And that's the way it works. That's where the money comes from. As far as I'm concerned, if you lock it in and it goes up, somebody actually asked me a while ago, would I sell my account for 100,000? No, not at all. And that's where effectively the money's coming from. It's purely because people are saying, I'm not going to sell. I am not going to sell.
Where does what's your relationship with DTube? I've got two questions. Yeah.
So DTube is a video blogging platform. So what some of the content creators on Steemit decided to do was go across to create video content that they could store on a blockchain, right? On the Steemit blockchain. But the Steemit blockchain, as it turned out, didn't quite work to store the actual video data. So what they do now is essentially store the reference on the Steemit blockchain, and they have a separate database where they centrally store DTube. And then when you vote for the DTube video, it's fed through the Steemit blockchain. So the upvotes go the same. So it's coupled with Steemit, but it's not on the blockchain of Steem itself. But it's essentially a video platform, yeah. Anyone? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still struggling. Is that working? Sorry, I'm still struggling a little bit. I think my question is really the same as the previous two. And you talked mostly about blogging, but then a moment ago you just said that the blogging is only a very small part of the overall valuation of the platform or Steemit. So I'm just not clear what the rest of it is and where the monetization is actually really coming from. Because what you're describing at the moment is you're creating cryptocurrency and then distributing it amongst yourselves. So I'm not clear if there's a business underlying it.
When when they put the blockchain together, the Steam blockchain, the actual Steemit, the blogging side, was always going to be a very small part. And in theory, you've got the engine, which is the clever bit that fits behind it, and Steemit, which obviously is the blogging tool there, is basically just one part of the overall potential ecosystem. You know, you got Steam Host, Steam Video, Steam TV. It could be anything. And there was a massive announcement, and it's been touched on before. There was a massive announcement that we're going to be launching smart media tokens, and this is going to totally revolutionize social media. Absolutely, totally revolutionize it, way beyond the imagination of even some of the smartest people I've been speaking to. So as far as we're concerned, Steemit, you know, what we're obviously talking about, the blogging side, is just the tiny part of the overall ecosystem for the future. One more question, I think. Yeah. Oh.
You spoke about the white paper. When would that be, say, integratable with, say, our own platform? Because I run a big car website called Planet Auto, and we've seen this as a perfect introduction for blogging and, you know, earning and curation and so on.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, the answer is the white paper is out. The ecosystem is going to be released sometime in the first quarter of 2018. That's our expectation. I'm on the Dev Telegraph platform for the smart media tokens. It doesn't mean I'm actually involved in building them yet, but my plan is definitely to be going to businesses like yours and going, hey, can we monetize your business for you so that you don't have to?
All right, I'm sorry, guys, but that's going to have to be it. Thanks for coming over. I'd like to again just say thanks for Matt, thanks for Dylan, and Thomas and Ashley. Cheers, guys.